Good morning and happy Feel Good Friday. It's just bang on 10:30, I think, and it looks like I'm live. So welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you that don't know me, I am Joanne and I am the owner of award-winning wellness centre and vocational training centre, the Full Spectrum Centre Limited. And this is a new little feature that I'm going to be doing every Friday, where I'm going to be sharing some tips to make you feel good. And not just on a Friday, you can follow these tips throughout the week to keep you happy and healthy every day. So I'm so happy to be here, to be with you wonderful people. It's been a very stressful time for all of us. But this is one of the reasons and one of the drivers for me doing this new feature. So I'm so glad that you're with me. And if you're watching the replay, please type in #replay. I can catch up with you later and get back to you and just interact with you. So this morning, I wanted to talk to you about stress just because of the situation that we're all facing. So that's where we are at the moment. We are restricted, we are disconnected, and that just affects our stress levels. So stress is what we feel when we're overworked, when we're dreading something that's about to happen, or when generally we're just unable to relax and to stay calm. And that can be due to outside or inside factors influencing our thoughts. But it's actually much more than that. It goes beyond that. Stress is a basic physiological reaction that is designed to help us focus and to survive. In itself, it's not a bad thing, and actually, it's rather adaptive. The problem is that it's been taken out of context, which means the positive effects become much outweighed by the negative. So essentially, stress is what causes the fight or flight response. And this is a physiological response to a perceived danger, and it's designed to improve our chances of survival. For example, if you were to see a lion, this would trigger a cascade of effects collectively resulting in the stress response. And this begins when we observe the danger or we experience fear. Now, increased activity in our brain then causes the release of adrenaline, as well as our stress hormones. These then trigger a number of physiological changes. So, they increase our heart rates. They make us breathe much more quickly, making us more acutely focused on that potential danger and that potential threat. Now, in the short term, this is actually good for us. These things help us to evade danger and win combative situations. The increased muscle tension makes us stronger. The increased blood viscosity makes our blood more likely to clot in the case of an injury, and our dilated pupils let more light in to improve our vision. Suppression of secondary functions means that more blood can be sent to the muscles and to the brain, so we can act quickly in that situation. The reduced pain means we can carry on fighting, or we can carry on running despite any injury. Now, in short, anything that can help you survive is prioritised while all the secondary functions get suppressed. So the idea is that once we get to safety, we can then turn off this fight or flight response and instead enter the rest and digest state. And that's in order for us to recover. Once the predator is gone, we can recover. But the problem is that in our modern environments, predators aren't the main problem. When was the last time you had to run away from a lion? It's rare these days for us to be chased, to get into a fight, or to escape that dangerous situation, like a lion. What's not so rare is for our boss to shout at us and tell us that we're late for a deadline. It's not rare for us to be in debt. And it's not rare for us to have marital problems. And unfortunately, the brain interprets all these signals in just the same way as threats. So in the same way as if you'd seen that lion. And this causes the same fight or flight response. But because these types of threats aren't so easily resolved, this means we often end up on a heightened alert for a much longer period of time. And this takes a tremendous toll on our bodies. So as you might imagine, it's not good for you when your immune system, your digestive system are suppressed for a very, very long time, days, weeks. It's also not good for your brain to be flooded with stress hormones. And it's not good for your heart rate to stay elevated or for your blood pressure to stay high for long periods. And this is the problem with chronic stress as opposed to acute stress. And it's the problem with heightened levels of stress. So basically, the longer you are under stress like this, the longer it continues, the more you start to feel drained, malnourished, fatigued, ill, possibly even depressed. But what if you're not stressed? What if your work isn't particularly high pressured? What if your relationships are really good? And what if you've got plenty of money? Well, look at you, I say. Does that mean that you're fine though? Well, probably not. Unfortunately, many other aspects of our modern lifestyles can cause symptoms similar to those of stress. So, one example is the use of our technology, artificial lighting. The brain is designed to use external cues to set its own biological rhythms, and this includes the sleep wake. Now, this actually triggers the release of stress hormones at certain times of the day. Now, that's because stress hormones are just one of the tools that the body uses to wake itself up when you are sleeping. The release of these stress hormones triggers activity in the brain that stares you out of sleep and makes you fully alert. But if the light is on at night and you're looking at your phone in the evening or you're watching the TV, this will cause the release of similar stress hormones right at the time that you are meant to be relaxing, ready for good, deep quality sleep. So that means you'll continue to feel alert and you won't give your brain time to recover. Now, what doesn't help is the way that everything on the internet, on the TV, in the newspapers is designed to grab your attention and pull us this way. And that's been shown to cause effects similar to ADHD in the long term. And it makes it incredibly hard for us to concentrate on any one thing for a long time. Now, stress itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's rather useful and it's a required part of a normal, healthy, functioning body. In fact, a little stress is necessary in order to help you feel more alert, to keep you more focused, and to make you more productive. So, if we never had just a small amount of stress hormones in our system, then we'd probably spend all our time, all day long, too relaxed, highly rested, and too laid back to actually get any work done. The key is to make sure that your stress levels stay at an optimal level, as well as to try and get your natural cycles to line up with the times when you need to be your most productive, which for most of us is during the day. When we're stressed, we breathe more quickly and we don't breathe as deeply. But likewise, when we breathe more quickly and not as deeply, we become more stressed. So, what I want you to do right now is take both hands and place one on your stomach and one on your chest and just breathe normally. Which hand is moving first? Is it the hand on your chest or is it the hand on your stomach? For most people, the answer will be the chest. But to be optimally healthy, it should actually be your stomach. Now, when we're infants, this is how we breathe, and it's also how animals breathe. Years of sitting at an office desk or driving the car or sitting on the sofa mean that we've spent way too long with our stomachs compressed and we've learned to breathe differently. Now, stomach breathing means that you're relaxing your abdominal muscles. Therefore, you're opening up that abdominal cavity, and you're allowing your diaphragm to drop down into that space. Now, this then creates more room for your lungs, and they'll automatically inflate as they enlarge. They then bring your chest in and open so that you can take in even more oxygen. And as a result of that, you breathe a lot more deeply. This oxygenates your body, calming your heart rate, and it helps you to feel less stressed. In fact, one of the very best ways to help yourself feel instantly less stressed is to start taking deep, controlled breaths. This puts you in a rest and digest state, and it stops the fight or flight response in its tracks. You can also simply count the breaths in and out, and each time you get to 10, start again. The aim here is to have all of your focus and all of your attention on your breathing and not to be distracted by anything on the outside. Now, don't get me wrong, from time to time, you'll notice that your thoughts start to drift in and you end up thinking about other things. That big ironing pile, what you're going to make for tea. This is just a fantastic example of just how hard we find it to focus on any one thing for a given period of time. But I don't want you to worry. If it happens, focusing on it, getting upset about it, and anxious is the worst thing that you can do. Instead, just simply notice. Notice that your mind has wandered, and then just bring your attention back to your breathing again. Each time it drifts off, just recenter and don't worry about it. Focusing on your breathing is simply giving you a way to center your thoughts and to remove the distractions that normally interrupt. Your mind is thinking all of the time. Now, this could just as easily work by focusing on something else. So, for example, some people will focus on a single word, and that's called a mantra. Now, a mantra is a word that's often used in transcendental meditation. And for instance, this might just be repeating a word like calm in order to busy your internal monologue. So hopefully now you have a little bit more understanding about stress and about how breathing can actually help you to begin reducing and combating that stress that's in your own life. Now, this isn't going to be an easy ride, not going to lie. Stress for many of us has become a normal part of life, and it's a hard habit to change. But by using breathing techniques, you'll find that you can reduce your base level of stress. What's more is that this will teach you to become more aware of your own thoughts and be better able to control them, and thereby you steer your emotions. So it's time to wrestle back control of your mind. You tell your body when it needs to wake up, when it needs to focus. You decide what's worth worrying about. And when you're home and work is over, you use this power to allow yourself to rest, to recover, and to forget about the stresses of the day. Once you can do all of this, you'll find your mood improves, your productivity skyrockets, and your health is greatly enhanced. And in the long and short term too. So the benefits are there. So just inhale calm and exhale stress. Give yourself the feel-good vibes. So I hope that's helped. I'd love to hear from you about the stresses of your days, how you deal with it. I'd love to hear what you think of the technique for today. It's been lovely to connect with you. Please do pop back next Friday at 10:30 when I'll be back with another feel-good tip. Have a lovely weekend. Lots of love from me. Take care.